Hey everybody, a little bit different of a video today. That's right, physical cards. So, moving forward with the channel, obviously I want to kind of change things up a little bit. Lots of sim gameplay on the channel and it gets a little stale. I know it's fun, it's a great resource, and I'm not by any means like trying to knock it or anything like that, but for me it has become just a little bit stale, and I figured since I'm actually trying to play webcam games more, because I don't have a locals. Like, the closest locals would be me driving 2-3 hours just to play One Piece, and that's, for my personal life, that's not really an option. So until I get more people around me into the game and able to play with people, webcam games are my only option. And with that being said, I entered a few games on a Facebook group I'm a part of, Luxury Gaming One Piece Online Tournaments, I believe is the name of it. I'll try to remember to link it down in the description, because it is a public group and anybody can join. And essentially what they do a lot of times is there's a lot of competitive players in there, but the guys that are usually kind of the tournament organizers, they'll put up things such as alt art cards and event cards, things of that nature, and they'll have an entry fee, and pretty much people can play, and you have the option of using the sim or doing webcam games. But a lot of them, because they are competitive players and go to these events, they do a lot of webcam games. And anyways, I entered one, and I thought it was a sim tourney for some reason and was completely wrong. And luckily I had bought some OP-03 at this point, and so I had to essentially just throw together what I could with what I had. And luckily for Katakuri, I had most of what I need. I have not been able to pick up the starter decks yet, so there is a lack of the starter deck cards in this deck. But also with the channel moving forward, I would like to kind of focus on specific decks, and as I work through them, play test and tweak them, keep you guys updated. And with Katakuri being kind of the deck that everybody wants to play, but I've done a ton of testing with it prior to the English release, and I knew going into things Katakuri was a deck that I really wanted to play, regardless of if it was going to be meta relevant or not. So this is the deck I put together for a small webcam tourney. I ended up going into round 1, and the guy I played against, we played on the sim actually, after going through the trouble of putting together a physical deck. But I had to play the same list in case I did somehow win and my next opponent wanted to do webcam. So without further ado, this is V.01, version 1 of Katakuri. Pretty much sealed only, because all these I didn't buy any singles. This is all from sealed product. So obviously we start with Katakuri, great leader. You know, you add the Dawn, swing, look at your life, look at your opponent's life, and put it on top or bottom, and then get an extra 1k. So it's a 7k swing with 1 Dawn. That's great. The first card here is just going to be our 1-drop pudding. Pretty basic, pretty staple. I was able to have all 4 of them, so you know, let's go. Then we have the Strucin, which its effect doesn't get talked about very much, but on play you can trash 1 card with trigger and KO one of your opponent's characters with the cost of 1 or less. And I was actually watching a video, I think it was 3 Swords Productions video, where it was their Arlong deck profile, and I hadn't even thought about it. But the only time this will be like super relevant would be something like maybe if someone's playing an older version of Zoro, or like what Steven touched on in the Arlong profile, going against Law, because they play a lot of low cost characters to kind of fill up the board and start getting effects off. So we do have 4 of the Strucin. And then we go into our next 2k, which is Sanji. Sanji's a really fun one because you can actually play him, add 2 Dawn, putting him at a 5k body, and you know, when you swing, you add 1 card from the top or bottom of your life, and then you place 1 from the top of the deck. So you're kind of cycling out things. Right now I only have 3. I do have a ton more of 03 cards coming in, and I should be able to finish up this deck. Again, I need to pick up the starter decks, at least 1, to kind of fill out some spots, because now we got Galette, which is a 2-drop, 2k body, 1k counter, and it's just a blocker. Pretty much, I needed something to be able to put on the board to help facilitate living longer, and I thought the 2-drop blocker wasn't a bad choice for that, considering the situation I'm in. And then we have our 3-drops. We have 2 Charlotte Ovens. Now the reason I put Charlotte Oven in this particular build, and I believe I only played 2 of it, is I'm a little bit event heavy. Now in yellow you run a few events typically, but not a ton. However, I'm having to run a little bit more events than you would like to, and this circumvents for it. So Dawn 1, when attacking, you may trash 1 card with a trigger from your hand. This character gains plus 3k power during this battle. So if you have a dead event in your hand, which pretty much all the yellow events have trigger effects, you establish this. Next turn, you swing with him. So he's already a 5k body because you have to add the Dawn times 1. You swing, you trash 1 of your dead events with the trigger, and now he's an 8k body for 3. It's not bad in theory. Now, has it come in clutch for me yet? Not really, but in theory, with having to work with what I had, I thought it was a decent choice. That's why I'm only running 2. You don't want to see it all the time. You're not relying on it, but it is there. Now, Shirley, just another blocker. Since I don't have the Brûlés, it is a 3-drop, 3k body, 1k counter blocker, so it's never dead in your hand. It can help facilitate, and on play, look at 1 card from the top of your opponent's life and place it at the top or bottom. So essentially it does what a lot of the yellow cards do, but it is specifically for your opponent's life. So not really too worried about it. I mean, it does give you information, so that is good, but this isn't a card you typically see ran. It's not a Big Mom Pirates. It's a very odd card. It's definitely in the place of what Brûlé should be, but not having Brûlés, I only run 3, and it does what it needs to for now. Now we go into the Parasparrow. Currently I have 3. This is one that I have some more copies on the way. It will go up to 4. Parasparrow is cool because it's 5k body. You get it out second turn if you go first, and you know your opponent will probably get rid of it, but then you get to search. You search the top 3 cards of your deck, put a Big Mom Pirates in your hand. I mean, you can't go wrong, especially in a situation like this build where you don't have the optimal ratios. So this is just another way on top of the pudding to help facilitate getting to what you need for your end game. So there's 3 Parasparrows. That will be 4. I will update this deck profile as I go. Next we do have Charlotte Opera. Charlotte Opera is really good. 1k counter, 4-drop, 6k body. Vanilla, I mean, it's just a good body to have. I only run 3 currently. I should probably bump this to 4 in this current build. To be honest with you, it's just a really good body to have, but right now we do only have 3. Now we have Smoothie. Smoothie's really cool. 4-drop, 5k body, 1k counter. And when attacking, you may add 1 card from the top or bottom of your life to your hand, and then it gains 2k power. So you don't even have to attach a Dawn, because it's already a 5k body. You can swing with it if you want to take the life. So if you've looked at your life with like Katakuri, and you know that, you know, maybe you don't have a trigger or something, you know, there's a dead card, maybe you have an oven in your life, you take it, add it to your hand, and then you just swing with Smoothie for 7k. It's not bad. We run 4. That I've toyed with only running 3. It is what it is. Smoothie's just a good card. Then you have Cracker. Cracker is one of the best cards in the deck, in my opinion. I've always thought this. 1k counter, so never dead in your hand. 4-drop, 5k. It's got the trigger. Trash card from your hand. Play this card so you can play it for free if it comes off a life. And then you can Dawn 1 if you have less life than your opponent. It gains plus 1k power, and it gets double attack. So essentially it becomes a 7k body for 1 Dawn, because the 1 Dawn makes it 6, and then it gets plus 1k power, so it's now a 7 with double attack. So if you add any more Dawn onto it for some reason, you're in late game, it's a big body that can help get rid of the last of that life, and or maybe they're at 3 life. You do shenanigans with this and then drop one of your big moms, like the 7-drop. But obviously we don't have that because we don't have starter deck cards. But these are things I think of when I'm going through cards. Like, I think of concepts and theories that I haven't necessarily thought of off the top of my head beforehand. Then we do run 4 Shirahoshi. The trigger is really good, but it's not typically something I would want to run it for. In fact, I could probably cut one and then throw in another opera. But there is 4. It does have the 1K counter, so it's never dead in hand. And on play, draw 3 cards, discard 2. So, essentially, I mean, it's got a crazy effect, but that's all it's really good for, aside from the counter. So definitely gonna probably cut it to like 3, maybe 2. It's a card that originally, before I saw other people playing it, I never even really thought about playing, just because I think you can get to things properly without it, but it does help in a tight spot, so we do run it for now. We do have one secret Katakuri that I pulled out of the one box that I've been able to get so far. It did not go up on the channel. I ended up starting it on my Whatnot stream and then had some stuff come up with family, and so I domed a box personally, but I will have an opening up soon enough. We will get an OP-03 box opening English up on the channel just as soon as possible. But the 8-drop Katakuri, 8K body, on play add 1 card with a cost of 8 or less to the top or bottom of life, and I believe, yeah, it's just the owner's life, so you can choose either side. So if you have something like one of your triggers that you want to put back on your life to get to, you can do that, or you can get rid of something big on your opponent's side and put it at the bottom of their life, so it's not helpful at all whenever you go for the rest of the game. Then we go into 10-drop Big Mom. Of course, we do not have 7-drop because we do not have the starter decks, but the 10-drop we do have 2 copies of. I think I have 1 or 2 more on the way. This card is absolutely blowout card, especially if you can get 2 or more on the field, like back to back, because you play it, you gain a life, your opponent trashes a life. It's 12K body. I mean, this is your boss character. This is what you want to get to. You want to see it in your hand as soon as possible, so that once you hit that 10 Dawn curve, Lin's coming out. Now, I have made the mistake of not playing Lin on 10 curve, and it has cost me dearly. So just keep in mind, this deck has not had a great track record with the current build, but that's because it's not optimal. It's nowhere near optimal. But I do want, again, to keep up with a deck as I'm working on it with physical cards, because I do want to have more physical cards on the channel. So just keep that in mind, especially going into these events, because it's event heavy, and this isn't what you really want to see in yellow, so to speak. So we do have Buzzcut Mochi. If your life is less than your opponent's, KO one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. And then the trigger is play up to 1 character card with a cost of 4 or less and trigger from your hand. So if you see this off life, you get a free body on board. If you have to play it, you know, if you hard draw it and play it, it doesn't happen often. Like, despite yellow's strategy, you do not play this card often. You mainly want to try to see it for its trigger effect, but it was something to just kind of fill the deck up. I could probably cut it and add some other things, but I just thought maybe. It's kind of conditional, so it's one of those, it's definitely a flex spot. And then we go into another not so popular yellow event, Tropical Torment main. So on your turn, if your opponent has 4 or more life cards, trash up to 1 card from the top of your opponent's life cards. So it's pretty much just trash one of your opponent's life. And we only play 2 copies of it. Off trigger, you just activate it. So if you see it off life, it is really good. If your opponent's at 4 or more life. So if they're at 5 life, 4 life, you're getting rid of a life for free, and there's nothing they can do about it. This was the card that, like, I like this card, but there's times you don't see it early enough in the game. So like if you're on 3 and you don't have Parasparrow, you play this and get rid of a life. But if it's late game, you can have this in your hand, and then Oven, you could trash it for Oven's ability and get extra 3K on your swing. Now the next 2 events are pretty staple. Thunderbolt, you may trash 1 card from the top of your life, KO one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less, and then Trigger is KO one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. So you prefer to see it off of life, like most of these trigger effects, but it is just a good card. We run 3 because we do not want to see it too often, but we do want that good chance of seeing it off life. And finally, we have Ikkaku Sovereignty. It's a counter. 5k counter, and then trigger, trash 2 cards from your hand, add 1 card from the top of your deck to your life. And so this is really good if you see it in life. Say you swing with your Katakuri, you see it, you put it on bottom. It's just a insurance policy that they're gonna hit my last life. I'm gonna activate trigger. I'm gonna get another life, and maybe be the difference between that turn being the turn you lose or the next turn you win. So that is the Katakuri deck profile version 1 right now. I know it's not optimal. Do not try to flame me in the comments. Though in the comments, do feel free to give me any opinions, any advice, anything you would change with what I have on hand currently. If there's cards that are in OP-03 that if you've opened a box you probably have on hand you think should be put in there over other cards, and the reasoning why, feel free to drop it down in the comments. I'm hoping to maybe get a webcam game going with somebody soon that I can actually film and put up on the channel. So if anybody's interested in partaking in that, please let me know. So that was the Katakuri version 1 deck profile. Look out for version 2 probably relatively soon. Like I said, I know I have a ton of other OP-03 cards coming in, and I will update and post another video about it soon. And also keep an eye out for other deck profiles, because I do have other decks that I'm working on. It'll be slow, but I will get them together and I will showcase them for you guys. So if you like the video, go ahead and hit that like button. If you are new here and you want to see more content like this, or just One Piece content in general, hit the subscribe button and share out the video to your friends. Tell your grandma. I really don't care who you tell. I just would like to see some more subscribers. It helps build the community and helps get this out to more eyes. So until the next one, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you later. Peace.